Recorded. So welcome again today, guys. Curtis, that was a great testimonial that you told us about the first time you went out on a showing by yourself. Would you please reiterate that for everybody?
Sure. So um, almost 3 years ago, I had my first showing client that I took out by myself, and it was a duplex unit, and took her through the property. That didn't work out. Out of interacting with that client, that is the property that she should have actually purchased. So she ended up not writing an offer on that property. But the interesting thing is that when I was, she left, I went back through the house to lock everything up and, turn the lights off. It was in the evening. And when I came back out to lock up, the gentleman in the duplex next to it, so it was attached, came out and he was just like, "Hey, are you a realtor? What's going on next door?" And just got to talking to him. I'm a realtor, gave him my card. You know, I think about it, I might not have even had cards then. That's how new, like, I don't even think I had cards yet. So I just got his information, sent him a text message, make sure I have your information. And so over the past 3 years, I just kind of kept following up with him periodically, started making conversation about working out. He knew I owned a gym. And so I was more kind of coaching him. I was giving him fitness, workout tips, just things that, just dialogue, nothing crazy. It wasn't like I was doing this every week. I wasn't stalking him, or, I didn't want to come off like that either. But it was just kind of every 3 months or every blue moon, I would just, shoot him a message. So long story short, almost 3 years went by, and I sent him a message, and then he was like, "Hey, I'm ready to buy a new home. I need to get out of here, and I need to sell what I have." And so I helped him do do both. So we went out, we got him pre-approved with Michael Cooper. We literally found the property. We looked at a few homes, wrote an offer on one. We didn't get it. Found another one, wrote the offer. The offer was accepted. I had to move really fast to get the home inspection done. So we inspected the home literally the next day. We were we were ratified, home inspection out of the way, and COVID hit and everything was on lockdown. So I was able to get under contract and the home inspection done. And I knew if I could get that, I didn't know what was going to happen with COVID. This is March, so I didn't know how all this is going to play, but I knew I didn't have to leave the house now, because everything else afterwards is emails, it's the appraisal. So it's just back and forth, but I was able to get him under contract. That transaction went extremely smooth because I was able to prep him prior. He knew to get his stuff to Michael Cooper. If he asked him, get it to him. So that transaction went smooth, got in his new home, listed the home that I met him at, and we were under contract within 2 days. That potential buyer pulled out because the home is going to need some work. It just was at a point they weren't ready, to kind of, take on that kind of a project, put it back on the market, and within 3 days, we were, under contract again. This particular buyer on the buying side is a VA loan, which I wasn't too thrilled about just because I know VA with the appraisal and possibly needing lender repairs or stuff like that, it can push out everything. And it's funny, we accepted that offer, and that night we got another offer that I wish we would have accepted that one, but we were already under contract. So this settlement is today. So at 2 p.m. today, settlement should happen for the home that I met this guy at 3 years ago, and I'm on the listing side. So I get 3.5% is what's written up. And I'm actually going to be making more money than he is as the owner. or, the brokerage is going to, Porterhouse is going to be making more money. And he was even like, man, he's like, you getting off better than me. And I was like, but it's not a short sale, So he was worried it was going to have to be a short sale. He doesn't want to affect his credit. So I was like, we didn't short sale it, and you're walking away. You can put a couple stacks in your pocket. So, and you got this new lovely home, and he's happy. He's happy. It just has been drawing out. So I don't know how many extensions I've written with this particular settlement today, but it does show the training that we all get, and have access to at Porterhouse with Shay and Jasmine, especially for the new agents here. I've been spoiled because I've never been to another brokerage. Everything I've learned from real estate, from being an agent now, is because of Jasmine and Shay. And you can just tell the buying agent with this particular deal, will never knock anybody, but she just wasn't trained properly. She doesn't know kind of what she should be doing. And I'm the one more like, hey, we need an extension. Can you give me the extension? Put this date on it. And then 2 days later, we need the extension. So I was the one more really in charge of the deal for both sides, because I was going to get it done. Like, we needed to close this. And if I have to be the one to keep hitting you in the head, like, hey, we need this paperwork, it is what it is. It's all good. I'm going to do that. But to me, it just shows the level of training and everything that we have here. Everybody should be on these calls. Like, I don't know what you got going on. Like, for the most part, people are still locked down, or like, people aren't moving around as much. You should make time to get on these calls. If not, at least watch the training over. But yeah. So I don't want to ramble on, but settlement today at 2. So I'm happy about that.
That is excellent, Curtis. Kudos to you. That is a huge testimonial from his very first time doing a showing. And even that client that didn't end up closing, he ended up getting another buyer and a listing, and is going to settlement today, and had 2 transactions that came out of just talking to people while doing a showing. And that's one of the things that Mr. Porter was speaking to when he said exploit every opportunity. So let's see what's going on there. I want to make sure you guys can see me. Let's see. Can you guys see me now? Okay, great. Because I have my cell phone and I'm here on the computer, because sometimes for whatever reason with Zoom, the audio will start to go on the fritz. So I'm just very excited to hear that testimonial coming out of it. And if I may, I just want to give kudos to Curtis for something, and I want to give kudos to Dee as well, and a couple people that are on the line. But for those of you that were here earlier this year before COVID, when we did our awards ceremony at our office meeting, you noticed that there was a specific award that Curtis won. And we know that he's been Agent of the Year for the last couple years. But the award that I want to talk about today is for most trainings attended. And I say that because you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. So just like Curtis is talking about the transaction that he just did, he sees the difference in the level of training from the agent to himself because of all the information that he's been privy to here at Porterhouse. Well, as much as we love Curtis, Curtis is not the only one that's privy to that information. Every single person here is privy to that same level of training, the same level of insight, the resources that we have, directly connecting with both Shay and myself, looking at the videos, attending these trainings. And we do our due diligence to make this information available to you guys on a weekly basis. So I do want to encourage each of you to do the same. Take every opportunity that's afforded to you with regards to training. So look at the videos, listen to the dialogue, because it's going to help to build your language, your repertoire in real estate. And you need to be able to have those conversations with your buyer. And then for you guys as agents, you're going to need to have a certain level of confidence in order to be able to carry yourself in a way that you know exactly what your worth is as a real estate professional. So absolutely avail yourself to the training. And if you're not able to get on because you're dual career, that's not a problem because we have videos for you. We're recording all of our trainings now, so you can go back and listen to it. But at all costs, make sure that you do not miss the information because like Curtis said, it's going to make the difference as to whether or not you're able to get through that transaction successfully. So that's my piece for now. All right, so today we're going to be talking about overcoming obstacles in transactions. All right, Mr. Porter.
Uh-oh, what did I do now?
Thank you for unmuting yourself. We're talking about overcoming obstacles in transactions today. Where would you like to begin? Because there's a list of things that we're going to mention.
I'm not going to have any obstacles. I'm a real estate professional.
All right, tell us what that looks like to not have any obstacles.
All right, guys. So I love Realty Talks. I just really love this because it gives us an opportunity to talk about some of the things that we're experiencing in real estate, but it also gives us an opportunity to kind of share with you all some of the things that if you haven't experienced them, you're going to experience at some point. And as we've been talking about over and over, many of the obstacles and things that we're going to be dealing with pertain to selling a house in one aspect. But what I've been talking to agents more about this week is that really you're selling one thing in real estate, and it's not a house. You're selling yourself, okay? And what does that look like? Well, you have to realize that we live in an information age, and many of your clients, they can do some research, they can try to figure out how home sales go. And the worst thing that you can probably have happen to you is to have someone who thinks they know more about buying and selling homes than you do. Mm-hmm. That's the largest obstacle. So you're going to have people who, for all intents and purposes, may or may not have ever sold a piece of property in their entire life, or may have had an experience where they have purchased or sold property in the past. And their expectation is that everything that's going to happen with the transaction that you're about to do with them is going to be the same or similar to what they've already been through. And that's a huge misnomer. So one of the things that is really important for you to do is to establish yourself as a real estate professional. And the way that you do that primarily, guys, is through learning the buyer's consultation and the listing consultation. When you learn those consultations, and if you've ever sit through a consultation with myself, there are times where people will give us challenges and we have to push back on those things. You really want to establish your dominance, your authority, your knowledge base in those consultations. For those of you who are skipping the consultations, and we know people have done it, okay? We're not oblivious, but don't do it, because what's going to end up happening is that you're going to end up finding yourself in a relationship with your client where they're leading you through the transaction, and ultimately, if they don't close on that property, they're going to be very upset with you. Because the idea is for you to either help them sell their property or to assist them in purchasing a property. And if they're going to lead you through their idea of what that looks like, you are not going to be successful. What we've given you, what you have in front of you, the type of information that we share with you in the consultation is information that is tested and over again. In fact, we built this brokerage on that information that we're giving to you freely. Most people in most places, they don't get that same level of transparency when it comes to knowing how to navigate through a transaction. They kind of got to do it by hit and miss. One of the things I want you guys to be confident is I don't care if it's your first day in real estate or you've been there doing this for 14, 15 years. Stop thinking that other people or that your clients know more about real estate than you. Stop thinking that you don't know enough to lead them through this process. You have everything that you need, including 2 phone numbers and probably more, because I can dare say most of the people on this call right now, and a lot of them can support you in one way or another. You can always pick up the phone and reach out and call Jasmine or myself and say, hey, I have a question from my client. This is what they're thinking. This is the scenario. What should I be saying? And we're going to go over a number of different scenarios and details with you that you can go back then with your client and then help map their mind, because the bottom line is that they're coming into the deal and they have a certain mindset. 90% of your hard work is going to be helping them to craft the mindset that's going to get them to the table and eliminating a whole lot of the emotionality. You can't get emotional in the transaction. Your job is to be objective, to provide data, to give them your best professional opinion. But you don't have to be subjugated to, their fears, their uncertainties and doubts should not become your fears, uncertainties and doubts. What you need to do is then take that fear and show them a feature. Take that uncertainty and show them an advantage. Take that doubt and show them a benefit. So you have to drive, and it's not easy. Curtis just told you, this transaction has been going on for a while, but because in his repertoire and because he comes to the training, he knows how to keep, as we call it, kicking the can down the road till we get to settlement, because the goal is to get your client to the table. And it's an emotional roller coaster for them, but it shouldn't be for you. You should just continue to be steadfast, to present information, to make sure you go to bat for your client. I had an agent this morning tell me, well, I don't want to keep sending the email over and over to the listing agent. Harass listing agents. That's your job. It's your job. If you're on the buying side, to harass the listing agent to get your client to the table, to get your client their ratified contract. It's your job. It's not emotional. It's not personal. Don't make it personal. If you run your business as a business, then you'll have a business. If you don't, one of the main details again that we get, or objections that we get, is people saying they don't have money. Well, if they don't have money, they're not ready to buy a house. That's just what it is. That's just matter of fact, right? Now, that being said, we're gonna encourage them to continue to move forward in the process, and we're going to try to help them identify places where they could pull money from, or ways that they can get gift monies, or even lender credits, or whatever the financial issues is. We don't want that to be the end of the transaction because of money, but at the same time, we want to let them know they're going to have to release that money. They're going to have to release it. They're buying a house, okay? So these are the things that we're going to run into. But again, the big picture, this is the conceptual, and I can get into details. I'm going to let other people talk. But the big picture is the concept that your job is to stay as objective, give as much information, data, encouragement, support to help increase the mindset of the buyer or the seller in order to get them to the goal. And that's it. All emotional pieces, people yell at you and all of that kind of stuff. Don't take it personally, guys. Stay professional. Let them vent. Let them say whatever they're going to say, but at the end of the day, be ready to then put them back on track and to keep them moving down the road, and to keep them in the game as much as possible, and as long as it's in their best interest to stay in the game. Curtis, today, and I'm going to ask Curtis to just to chime in. I told Curtis today, I said, how far are you going to kick that can down the road? Because your seller has now given a number of extensions, because this other agent may or may not be as savvy as they should be, but now you've given a number of extensions for reasons that I don't think are that concrete to continue to move the process. But now, if that buyer doesn't perform today, what are we going to do? What are you going to say to your client? Is Curtis, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even then, I said, Curtis, and I just called you this morning, first thing this morning. I said, what's going on with this settlement? We supposed to close on this thing last week. And you said, hey, my clients, I suppose my client signed the documents today, 2 days ago. And what did I say to you? What's the first thing I said to you, Curtis?
Well, yeah, are we gonna have to we gonna have to cancel it?
You had to put some pressure on you had to push pressure on the buyer's agent and the buyer that they must perform or else we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
And I know your client doesn't want to hear that, and you don't want to hear that, and nobody wants to say that, but we have to stay objective and we have to do what we have to do in order to get our clients to the closing table. And it doesn't count if your client went to the closing table by himself. You need a buyer on the other side of that transaction. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody following what I'm saying? Does anybody have anything they want to ask or chime in on?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Is that Miss Darlene?
Yes, I'm listening.
All right, Darlene, you know that. Okay. I didn't want to call. I didn't want to say anything about you. Okay, Curtis, I'm done with you. Let me jump over to Darlene real quick.
Yes, come on over here.
All right. Yeah. Now, let me say this also, guys. One of the did you have something, Patrice?
No, I'm just listening. Good information.
Okay, great. Mute yourself for me, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Not Darlene, not you, Darlene. I need you to unmute yourself. All right, thank you. So one of the things, Darlene has a very interesting transaction, and we had a long talk, Darlene. Darlene has a transaction, and this is what I want to say to you guys. The number one place to get referrals is your sphere of influence. The people that you know, the people that know you. All right, so if you get referrals from your sphere of influence, that means these are people that know you. This means people that think that they're going to get the discount from you, and they want everything to count for them and just want you to do your job for free. 95% of all of my clients are referral based from people that I know. And 95% of them are still my friend after we close transactions. But what does that say about that other 5%? You don't want to lose friends throughout a transaction, but you do want to make sure you're running your business as a business, no matter who you're doing business with. Right. This is a tough ask for anybody. This is very, very tough thing for me to ask of you to do, is for you to take your friend or your parent or your auntie and to charge them all the fees that you would charge everybody else. But I guarantee you, if you do it, you're never going to take a short from anybody else. You're going to run your business like a business. My dad paid $7.95. We paid $7. Everybody paid $7.95. Okay, that we just don't take shorts on that. Okay, you have to perform. You have to run your business like that. My dad paid 3%. Everybody pays 3%. If they came to the table, this is my father. I love him. He's bought 3 properties with us. Paid the $7.95, and he paid the full 3%. That is because we established our business as a business. And let me tell you something. When you run your business as a business, 99% of the people that you're working with are going to respect you for running it as a business. And the other 5% are going to be mad because you didn't give them a discount. Well, those people really aren't supporting you, and you might want to think about that 5% anyway. All right. Anybody who's supportive of you and you're supportive of them, they're going to be happy that you did your job and got them into their house. And if you did it correctly, if you get them into a house, if they're buying and you got them in it for as little money as you possibly could have gotten, but you still collected all of your fees and you didn't even discuss any, discounts and all that kind of stuff, they're going to respect your business and they're going to refer you. If you help them to sell their house and you got them the most money that they could get for the sale of their house, and you didn't have to give them a discount and all of that, they're going to respect you as a business person. If you give them, it's a psychology, guys. I know it doesn't sound cool, but it's real. If you give them that discount, what's going to happen is they're really not going to respect you as a business person. They're not going to say that to you. They might be nice to you, but they already see that you're kind of a pushover and that you're not really doing business. So now they're wondering, really, what more could I have gotten from you? What more could I have gotten out of you if I'd have pushed a little harder? You know, so it's not a fight. It's just you establishing yourself as a business person. Does that make sense? So Darlene's situation, if you don't mind, Darlene, I'm gonna share a little. Yeah,
Nope.
you can share a little bit how you want me to go.
You go wherever you want to go.
So Darlene's situation is a very good friend, been friends for a long period of time, loves the person very dearly. The person has a lot of things that they're requiring. And you know, we use the old acronym, they want champagne with a beer bottle budget. But these people have a little bit of money, but the money that they want to try to do something in this market that we're really not able to do, which is in this aggressive COVID market as a purchaser, you really want to come with your A game. You know, we've been talking about that a lot. You really have to come now, not asking for closing help and bringing a full price offer or better to the table. And so we've explained this to the client. Yet and still the client wants to send properties that's about $100,000 over what they're qualified for. And if they were able to qualify, they wouldn't even be willing to spend it anyway. And so what we have to say to our friend is, okay, let's go back. Remember, we talked about the type of market that we're in. See, that's how you stay objective. You bring them back to focus. The market that we're in is such that we're not able to do those things. So what are the things I told Darlene to do? I said, hey, before you write that offer up, this person, the listing agent already has multiple offers on the table. Your client's coming in the game at the last minute and wants to take you all the way out of town to get some documents signed and all kind of crazy stuff. I said, Darlene, that's too much. Just call the agent and say, hey, my client's interested in the home. I know you have offers. Would it be worth me writing an offer with the following terms? We want to make a full price or maybe a little bit overpriced offer. I think it was overpriced offer. We want to make an overpriced offer, but it wasn't.
You only went 5 over asking price.
Okay, 5 over at 5,000.
Yeah.
5,000 over asking price, right? We would no closing help. I think we said no closing help, right?
No closing help, right?
What did we ask?
On just appraisal and inspection.
Appraisal and inspection, and closing in what? 30 days?
Yes.
Okay, Darlene. What did the listing agent say to you?
First, she laughed, and then she
Stop
said,
right there, guys. The agent literally laughed at that. Just think about this. And I was hoping Darlene would have had the client on speaker. She didn't. She was nice to her friend. I would have had my friend on speaker so that now you're establishing yourself as the real estate professional. I know what I'm talking about. This is the market. This is the climate. If you want a house.
And she had 15 contracts on that house.
Yeah. Okay. And so the agents are laughing, and your client needs to know, listen, I'm trying to help you.
Mm-hmm.
We can't present offers on properties in this climate that are not overpriced, and really your highest and best mean, and highest means the most money you can afford, okay? And best means with the least amount of complications, removing contingencies for financing, inspection, appraisal, or what have you, taking off warranties, all of this stuff that then the seller has to put in the selling net sheet. And at the end of the day, the seller's just looking at the bottom line. How much am I going to get for selling my house to this person as opposed to that person?
Right.
And so you have to come with your A game. So one of the strategies for buyers is you gotta kind of lower your aim in terms of, if I'm qualified for 400, I'm looking for houses in the 420, 450 range. I want to give myself a cushion now so that I can make an overpriced offer. Does that make sense? So now we're back at the drawing board with Darlene's client. And I think it was a very sobering moment to let her know, if you want to make an offer in this market, in this climate, you have to follow my directions. And that's all I'm saying to you guys.
Yep.
You have to take the bull by the horn, so to speak. You got to take the kitten mitts off. Not saying be mean to your clients at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. Please don't take it that way. But be assertive, be confident. Before you say something, that if a person is telling you something, for instance, and it just doesn't jive with where you're trying to take them, let them talk and say, I hear what you're saying, but let me call my broker real quick and see what they would say about that situation. And you can even get us on the line. Am I right, Darlene?
Yeah, and honestly and truly, guys, I had to do that. Because, and not that she didn't trust me, but I think I take that back. Maybe she didn't think I know what I was talking about. So anyway, but I did. And I had Mr. Porter on speaker for him to explain to her, this is a seller's market. And she had this thing in her head that she didn't want to be in a bid war. And then he had to explain to her, you're in a market, it's a seller's market, and you look at a house, somebody else is looking at the house at the same time. So no matter what, you're going to be in a bid war, whether you want to or not. Now, me saying it to her, she heard it, but she heard it clearer when he said it. Hence, now we're looking at something that in that same neighborhood, and we know what the last house sold for. So she's ready to now put in an offer because we have an appointment already for next Friday is when this property hits the market. She's like, well, if this has everything I want, I will immediately put an offer on it for what the last house sold for. Okay. That sounds better. That's reasonable. But yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, guys, and that's exactly what you have to do. And so one of the things that I did say, and I want you all to be confident enough to say, when people start talking like that and you say, I want you to stop after they're talking and say, so what is it that you expect me to be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her clients, I said, what is it that you all want to do? What do you all think that we can do given that information? And I think what they realize is that the course that we prescribed was really the only course of action that can be taken if they really want to close on a home in this client.
Mr. Porter, listen to this. One of the things, not to cut you off, that she said to me, she was like, well, how can the real estate agent do that? That house is not even worth that much. So I said to her, that agent is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. I said, because if somebody was to be selling your house, hopefully it's me, you want me to get the most I can get for your property. I said, so she's not doing anything wrong. She's getting the top dollar. So there's no law against that. But it just don't make sense to me. It will if you were selling.
Exactly. Curtis, you had something?
Yeah, I always use this line I got from Jasmine. The market has a voice. So anytime you're getting pushback of someone like Darlene, they're saying, it shouldn't sell for, $500,000. But the market has a voice. So you got to listen to it. You may not think it's worth 500, but clearly somebody thought it was.
Yeah.
And it can be on the low end too. So the market is always going to talk to you. And as the agents, we just, we're the ones that can listen. We know what's going on. And this is how we're going to help you get that house or sell your house because we know what the market is doing.
I like that term.
And that Curtis, you said, you hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly what I was going to say. The market does have a voice, and the market is hyperlocal. What does that mean? Hyperlocal means that if you're talking about the market in Prince George's County, well, what city in Prince George's County are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about Bowie. Well, are you talking about North Bowie or South Bowie? Because if you're talking about South Bowie, where people move in and they never move out, that's one of the highest sought after markets in Bowie. Okay, so much so that the mayor of Bowie has been talking about limiting construction in Bowie. You know why? They want to keep the house values extremely high.
Yep.
So they're starting to tell builders, thanks, but we don't want you to build any more homes in Bowie. And so with that being said, this client, I think the house was in Bowie. Was it in Bowie, Darlene?
Everything we looking at is in Bowie, and
Okay.
in some very good neighborhoods.
Right.
And actually, that one house that she wanted, I know the I mean, you know now. I knew the seller, and the only way I knew that is whoever listed the house should have told them to take their pictures down. But going in the house, I saw a picture, and I said, "Oh, that's so and so's house." But yeah.
So a hyperlocal market means that from city to city, the price may fluctuate dramatically. And if it's a highly, like we couldn't even hardly find comps because the people in that area, if they moved out, they were renting their homes out for almost $3,000 a month, but they weren't selling. They weren't selling that real estate in Bowie. So if you do find a house in that area in Bowie, trust me, everybody and their cousin is going to be trying to get that property. Mm-hmm. What you want to do is make sure that your client understands that this is not only the market has a voice, but that it's a hyper local market and that they don't know anything about the market's voice or they don't understand anything about hyper local markets. So I'm using these terms and I want you all to use these terms too, because again, these are terms that are going to establish you. You'll say, what was the market? You know, how is the market in that particular area? Because we know we're dealing with hyperlocal markets. Once you say that, most people say, what are you talking about? Good. Now I'm establishing myself as a real estate professional.
Yes, I like that.
The market has a voice. Good. Now I'm establishing myself as a real estate professional. I see Kermon, you got your speaker on. Do you have something, Kermon?
Well, I hit it by mistake, but I do want to just piggyback that the thing that works best for me, and I've thought about this, that you can make this very easy, very hard. I just listen to what you say, and I do what you tell me. And what I just wanted to say was this: I did a transaction for my niece, and it was a cash transaction. The first thing I told her was she had to pay $795. And she's my niece, she's my goddaughter, but the first thing Mr. Porter told me was everybody has to pay the $795. And that's what she did. I did another one where we're still waiting to do it for my brother. And he's trying to do some investment property. I told him he had to pay $795, which he did. So what I've learned, I learned this kind of the hard way, is everybody pays $795 no matter what the circumstance. And it just kind of resonated with me when Mr. Porter was talking about it, because I've had that in my family, I've had it with friends, and everybody has to pay the $795. That's all I want to say.
All right. And so that goes back to, again, Kermon, just running your business like a business, knowing how you want to operate your business, and making sure that you're not discounting your services. You guys really have to take this thing very seriously if you're going to make money. If you, if you're going to invest time and money into this, then it's going to cost time and money for you to be successful. Okay? You got to spend some time in it, and you're going to have to, make sure you collect your money. I was just talking to two people who are thinking about coming to affiliate with Porterhouse. And they were talking about one of the things that concerned them is that, they've been on the buyer side on a number of transactions, and they've been getting 2.5%. And then they have to do their split when their company split and all that good stuff, and they're just not happy with that. And so what I shared with them, I said, most of our agents are receiving 3% on the buyer. And he's like, on the buyer side? I said, yes, on the buyer side. Well, how do you do that? Well, I said, well, I'm not going to tell you. You can do an affiliation. You want to come join, we'll give you all the secrets. We'll hand them to you. And so, guys, you know how we do it, and you know how we get. And I know Aubrey is like, what's the $795? But we'll talk more about that at another time, Aubrey. It's the fee in addition to the commission, just to answer that question. But we collect that, and we collect it almost as a retainer. And we as Porterhouse, what we do is we give it right to the agent, and then we collect it again when you settle the property. But if you don't settle the property, at least you got some money to put in your gas tank. All right. I didn't know if you had a question. Okay. But yeah, guys. So one of the things that I really wanted to make sure that we stuck to today was getting you guys to understand that you have to have the proper mindset to get your clients to the table. And oh, Darlene, I have to hit on you again. Okay. So the other part of the conversation that I had with Darlene was that I think she was getting a little emotional about some things that she was experiencing in the transaction, and some things that she was seeing and that she was, learning about her friend that she probably hadn't paid attention to, but it became more evident. And I said, Darlene, don't get distracted by those things. Don't look at them. Close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get them to the table. And so some things, again, you want to stay objective, guys. You don't want your personal input and influence, even in the purchase of the house. They might pick a house that you wouldn't even ask your worst enemy to move into. But if they like it, I love it because I don't have to live there. I don't have to live there. And I would say to them, hey, let's get an inspection done. Let's make sure we do our due diligence. Are you sure this is the house that you want? They say, yes, I love it. This is the house for me. Well, then if you like it, I love it. Let's write it up. And they have vision. A lot of people have vision, or they have reasons why they want to. I tell this story quite often about the client. You guys know, the one that bought the furniture before she bought the house, and we couldn't find a house to fit her furniture. But the house that she did ended up wanting to buy was a house that was way down in Leonardtown, Maryland. She lived in, she was living in Suitland, I think, but she was willing to move way down Leonardtown, Maryland, because that's where she grew up. And the particular house that she wanted to buy, this house was old. It had been sitting for some years. It was running off of a well, so that meant that we had to get the well tested to make sure the water was potable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She didn't have a lot of money, but she had just enough money to put an offer in on that house. And with all that being said, I wanted to know, because I was still kind of, relatively new back, getting into the buying and selling aspect of real estate. And I really wanted to know what is it, because the house had leaves in it. I'm on the inside of the house. I mean, the windows were broken, all kind of stuff. And it looked like a haunted house to me. And that was my opinion. I didn't say that to the client. Please don't ever say that. And I say that to her. But I said to her, I said, so why do you want this house? And she said, when I was a little girl, my bus stop was right there in front of this house. And every day when I got on the bus, I used to say, when I grow up, I'm going to buy this house. And life being the way it is, circle back with how many other years later, she's standing right here in front of the house with a yard sign in front of it. And it was nothing else that could keep her from it. So do not be the judge. Do not try to prejudge what your clients want. Don't try to read your client's mind. Present them with information. Establish yourself as the real estate professional, not Home and Garden TV. Let your client know the market has a voice. The market is hyper-local. And that your job is to help them navigate through all of that minutia in order to get them to the settlement table. That's the bottom line. That's what your job is. And you cannot become entangled, not trying to be funny, no pun intended, in any type of emotional issues with your family members and friends who are going to end up being your clients, because that's primarily who you're going to be buying and selling to in your career. You have to be objective, you have to be matter of fact, and you have to run your business as a business. All right, I'm going to close out. We got about 3 more minutes, and guys, we're right on 1:30. I'm gonna have to pull out. We do have a number of things that we need to pay attention to today. So I'm not going to be laboring realty talks, but we didn't want to miss it. I'm sorry that we had to postpone working with buyers. We'll pick that up next week, next Wednesday at 11. But we hope that you enjoyed the the video that we sent out in lieu of it. But that being said, before I go, does anyone have any questions about anything that we talked about today, or just want to chime in and share before we go? All right. Anything? I mean, we can sing Kumbaya, but Jasmine is entertaining one of our clients that just showed up. If that's being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out, guys. Again, we have quite a few things that there she is. We're closing out, Jasmine. Do you have anything you want to share? I know we have a client out here. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just say that those are some great talking points, and just be confident, guys. Know that you are the real estate professional. All the training that you're receiving, all the resources that you have access to, lead your clients comfortably, okay? Lead them confidently throughout the real estate transaction. Just like Mr. Porter said, this is a people business. We're dealing with people. You may have to counsel. You may have to console. You may have to consult as well. But whatever you do, just lead your clients. Even if they get to the point where they're a little bit nervous about what's going on, just take the lead and do what you need to do to get them to settlement. Because at the end of the day, they're going to appreciate you much more if you have them to close on the home that they hired you to help them buy than if for some small reason you allow it to fall through. So do whatever you need to do to close the transaction for your buyers and your sellers, and they'll thank you for it.
Last but not least,
all right, guys.
Last but not least, ask for a ton of referrals. You know, that's one thing, guys, I want us to definitely get in the habit. When you're sitting at that settlement table, I know you're excited, you're Curtis, you're taking pictures and all that good stuff. Pass them a slip of paper and say, could you write down some people who you think might could benefit from my service? Because in a lot of cases, you might not ever see those clients again. And you know how that is. If you've done a number of settlements, some of those people are going to go off and they're not going to call you back maybe 3 years from now. But if you just slide them a piece of paper, say, hey, you think about a few people that you might know that I should call and either offer them an opportunity to sell their home or see if they're ready to buy. I would certainly appreciate it. Just ask. Exploit the opportunities, guys. All right? You're going to be successful. Listen. Oh, and last thing before you go. If you don't know what to say, phone a friend. I'm your friend. Jasmine's your friend. Curtis is your friend.
Absolutely.
D is friendly. Everybody's friendly around here. But just phone a friend and ask. Aurelia's a friend. Darlene is a friend. Just call somebody. Aubrey's our new friend. Call somebody and phone a friend. Run things past people. And
I'm friendly.
There you go. Run things past people and then go back to your client. You don't have to know every answer. You just have to know where to get the answers from. All right? All right, guys, look, you have a wonderful Thursday. I don't see you guys. Have a great weekend. Let's close some deals. Let's make some money. Let's meet some people. Pass out those business cards. I'm ready to order some new cards for somebody, and they're all free. Talk to you guys.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great day.
Be safe out
Bye-bye.
there. All right, bye-bye.